Animal.
I'm really short, so let's see if I can do this. Can everybody hear me? All right, here we go. I love seeing people still coming. I love that. So I wanted to give a little bit about my story. Yep, can you hear me now? Better? Better? Can everybody hear me? Alright, so better. Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Kerberg and I am deeply grateful to be here with you all as we celebrate International Women's Day. Today we recognize the history and triumphs of women and how we continue to overcome and thrive in the face of adversity.
Yeah!
I am the mother of 6 with 5 at home, and I use that distinction that honors the memory of my son August, whom died. It's a truth that shapes who I am, just as I deeply the challenges and joys of being a mother.
Yes!
Woo! After the birth of my first child, Blake, 15 and a half years ago, I experienced postpartum anxiety and a struggle that was often not talked about back then. There's the wind. There we go. Empty. My spouse's family at the time told me, and I lightly quoted, but I did save this. Can you hear me? The wind got a little strong.
You're good.
Can you hear me better? No? Can you hear me now?
Yes!
Okay. It's like no matter which way. Here we go. My spouse at the time's family told me, and I lightly quoted, however, I did save those texts. She was not the one for pity parties. That I decided to be strong and face myself and realize I put myself into that situation. I decided to become pregnant, and I need to stand behind my decisions. I put myself right where I was and no one else. But once I came to terms with all of that, only then could I see myself powerful. And that's bull, because that is so problematic. It is 2025, and how many people are still getting texts like that? How many people are still hearing their family, their friend's family, telling them, you decided to be pregnant, you decided, so you can live with anxiety. Can we think about how problematic that is for a new mom? There is still moms. So this was the beginning of many trials. In 2011, after a year and a half of dismissal of health care, I was finally diagnosed with extremely large tumor in my spinal cord. The surgery left me disabled with a spinal cord injury. And during my rehabilitation hospital stay, my ex left. Thankfully. But for my son, I found the strength to keep smiling. It was he and I against the world. And my rehab hospital is 4 months long. Sorry.
Doing great. Yeah, you got it. You got this! My badass daughter.
I'm trying here. He sat on my lap, steering my wheelchair with snacks in hand. And my nurses could never find me because I was always venturing around the entire hospital, talking to other people, hearing their story. I wanted to know what got them in that situation and how, what, and why. But their stories matter. Whether they were in the brain injury, the spinal cord injury, their stories mattered. I returned to Indiana for family support, yet face challenges in every sphere. Healthcare, as an ependymoma, is not known in Bloomington. I actually just found care with a neuro-oncologist after 9 years.
That ain't right.
No, that's terrible whenever we have a monopolized healthcare in the state of Indiana.
Yes.
let alone I need to be monitored every year. I had a doctor, but it was all a gamble with trial and error. Housing? Because you can't afford a home when you're getting pennies after a disability. You can't work and you're getting literal pennies. How are you going to find a home?
Yes.
And defining myself as a disabled single mom. Still, I preserve. A few years later, I met my husband. My son adored him and our family grew. He was incredibly supportive. We had 2 boys close in age, which has proved not all close age gaps are best friends. Yet. With each child came postpartum anxiety, emotions that spiraled onto borderline psychosis with my 4th. Only 3 days after his birth, anxiety grip was so tight that I feared what could happen.
Yep.
Hey, we're having problems, people hearing. If everyone can pull in closer, the people in the outer edge can come closer. So let's all get friendly.
We're all friends here.
I'm trying to be loud, I promise.
You got it.
With each child came postpartum anxiety, emotions that spiraled into borderline psychosis with my 4th. Only 3 days after his birth, anxiety's grip was so tight that I feared what could happen. My husband and my midwife recognized it quickly, and I had to give up control. My medicine, my children, I had to let someone else take control. It was no longer safe for me to do it. My husband and my midwife recognized, and at a week postpartum, there was a breastfeeding event with WIC, La Leche, and Milk Matters. And many asked, what are you doing out this early postpartum? But they had no idea that what I was doing, I was coming there for support. I needed to be with people, and I needed them to know they actually had more of an impact than they realized. Community was saving me just by being there. Just being there, that was saving me. Tragically, my son passed away a few months later from SIDS. And you know, I can never get that time back with mental health took away. But community saved me, and it proved how vital it is in such a dark time. The community support was a lifeline, offering me meals and play dates that helped me together in the darkest moments. I mean, you can't harm yourself or a fight or flight when you have a play date scheduled, right? You can't get in the car and drive away. I mean, food's coming, right? You can't. And as silly as that sounds, it made sense to me. When your life is literally telling you to go do something and you're out of control, food's coming. A play date's gonna be there, and you have to see them. After losing my son, I became pregnant again, but found out it was called a blighted ovum. My body was not miscarrying, and I found out it was a DNC that was needed. It's a pregnancy without an embryo. That procedure is called a missed abortion. I didn't want to be pregnant because I thought my son, who passed away, wouldn't approve. Then when told there was just a sac, I missed the possibility. What if? I chose to have a 5th child, this time the invaluable help of multiple postpartum doulas, which transformed my postpartum experience. And I continue to advocate for the belief that postpartum support should never be a privilege. It should be a standard. My son is hilarious. His name's Otto, and he loves the outdoors, and he always says he has work to do. But guess what? So do we. 2.5 years later, we unexpectedly became pregnant with our first daughter, Etta. While she brings immense joy to our lives, I still juggle with the weight of finances, the loss of a child, disabilities, and the needs of my family. I'm on a park board I care deeply about. I work with a past candidate that has changed my life for the better. And I want to live life, the best life that Ashley can be.
Yeah.
Recently, I found myself pregnant again, but I knew it was not a viable option for me. Between finances, mental health, and the disability, I knew what was best. They did not know. Unless they want to live with me, honey, they don't.
You don't want to live. No, just come on. No, I don't.
Please don't send it. Recently, whenever I found myself, I had to leave the state to seek appropriate health care. I prioritized my family's needs, and I recognized the immense privilege in that choice. There's people in rural areas, there's people in your cities that can't afford it. It is not cheap. They don't have time to take off for work, a babysitter. It is a privilege, and they want that to happen. They want you to not be able to go. Society often forces the continuation of pregnancy. Society often forces the continuation of pregnancy without acknowledging the necessity of support for a healthy life after delivery. In Indiana, our maternal mortality rates are staggering, with so many near misses that aren't always accounted for.
You want to try the people's microphone?
Women facing life-threatening complications, mental health, drug overdoses, homicides from partners, and in some cases, losing their lives during childbirth, miscarriage, and shortly after. It is not always like TV with some dramatic theme. They are suffering in silence. Many mothers suffer, grappling with mental health challenges, inadequate support, barriers to accessing care. The reality is that in our society, staying alive as a mother shouldn't be a privilege.
Yes!
It should be a fun. Can you hear me? Yeah. There we go. It should be a fundamental right for every woman, irrespective of her circumstances. It is a fundamental right, not a privilege, to be alive. Despite the urgent need for reform, many maternal health bills in the last few years specifically never even had a hearing. They never even got out of committee. And I watched it every single day. And they had no co-author. They did not come out of committee. And they didn't want them to. They didn't even want them to die. They were coming out. They did not want the support. This lack of action is a significant issue that affects the lives of mothers across our state. We need to advocate for these vital measures to be considered and passed to ensure that mothers receive the care and support they desperately need. Today, my story is a testament to the resilience embedded in our journeys. Our voices must be amplified to highlight how easy it is to find oneself in a pitfall, but how crucial support is for families. The mental health struggles that many mothers face can be overwhelming, but with community and compassion and care, we can overcome. Postpartum care should be a fundamental right, something that sustains families and preserves life. It's crucial we continue to advocate in a world where women's health choices are respected and supported. They signed a bill against trans athletes, saying they were protecting women. But does stats show that? As they took that stroke of a pen and said that they were doing to help women, no. If they want to help women, help women. Targeting and attacking the very few so that they cannot help us? No. not everything is okay. That is not okay because they are not protecting. So for us, we have work to do. Every one of us have work to do. Thank you for allowing me to share my story, and let us continue advocating for care, respect, and understanding that everyone deserves, regardless of your status, regardless of your color, regardless of your orientation. We deserve care.